Do you want to awaken V4 in Blox Fruits? Well, sit back and relax because I'm going to walk you through the entire process. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to Sea Castle in 3rd Sea and visit the site of King Redhead. And it will say, "Here lies King Redhead. Perhaps one day he will escape his mental prison." That's how you're going to start this adventure. So please sit back and enjoy because this is going to be a very long ride. Before we continue and talk about how to awaken V4, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe, I would truly appreciate it. Now to get started, the first thing you're going to want to do is find a God's Chalice. This can be found from elite pirates or in a treasure chest, just like this one. Oh, did I mention that before you can find it in a treasure chest, you have to be on a server for more than 4 hours?
Bruh.
The very first thing you need to do is gain access to the Great Tree. Which is, the top of the Great Tree. To do so, you must defeat Rip Indra. Rip Indra can be summoned by hitting all 3 color switches and then being activated with a Chalice. Now that's the funny thing about getting your V4 awakened. This is going to require 2 Chalices. To summon Indra, you will need access to 3 different colored hotkeys. You'll need pink, white, and red. Once all 3 switches are activated, by placing the Chalice in the throne room at the Sea Castle, you will summon Rip Indra. You might need some help for this battle, because Indra is actually very strong, and they have 2 phases. However, if you're by yourself, or even on a public server, you will get help, because the entire map will turn foggy, and everyone knows that Indra has been spawned. I was fortunate I was able to defeat Indra with a friend. After you defeat Indra, go ahead and head back to King Redhead's tomb. This time, when you speak to it, it'll have a different message. Once you speak to the Sealed King, the first message you get says, "Ah, so you have found some of my memory fragments from defeating that monster." It also appears that you tapped into a small fraction of his ability to travel through space-time, a powerful yet annoying technique from ancient times. A long time ago, the Rip family and the Red Legion clashed many times. In order to fight against their teleportation ability, we had to come up with our very own technique. This technique allowed us to forget our limits. However, it wasn't easy to learn. His memories start fading away. Please, head to the Great Tree. I'm sure he's hiding something within that island. And from there, you will select Yes, Admin. Getting up the Great Tree is no joke. You can use all sorts of ways to get up. I recommend though that you bring something that flies, like Dragon or Phoenix, or even Falcon, also known as the Walmart Phoenix.
Hey!
Dough works well, however, you can slip and fall and start from the bottom again. Once you make your way to the top though, you can climb up these limbs that will help you reach the very top of the Great Tree. At the very top is a portal, and that is where you will do trials to awaken your race. Even going up the limbs though, you can tell that my character has problems getting up, but it might just be a skill issue. You'll go through the leaves until you reach the very top. There you'll find a portal that says click to interact, and it'll say you feel a force here, a remnant of the past. The first time you enter, it'll say something along the lines of you felt something release and that you should go back to the Sealed King. So that's where you're going to go. You're going to go back to Sea Castle, and you're going to go talk to the Sealed King's tomb, aka King Redhead. And unfortunately, this is only the first step. Now, going forward, you're going to need another Chalice, and you're also going to need 10 enchanted chocolates. But first, we'll go ahead and go to the Sea Castle, and we'll talk to the Sealed King just to see what they say. You can feel free to jump down from the great tree without taking any damage. And once again, you can either take a fast boat, or a portal over with a friend, or fly, whatever your preference is. Once you have returned to the sea castle, you will return to the Sealed King, and the Sealed King will say, "So it was the Temple of Time that I felt. That place may hold the key to a greater power, but you must undergo a trial first to awaken it. Powers involving time always work best under the light of the full moon." From there you'll say, "Thank you, admin," who replies, "Perhaps one day we will be able to defeat that monster." Another cool trick about defeating Indra is that now you have access to the portals that are featured in the Turtle Mansion and the Sea Castle. You do have to defeat Indra, but it doesn't have to be your Indra. So if you defeated another Indra on someone else's server, or they summoned it with their Chalice, you still get the credit, so it doesn't really matter. However, the portals are awesome. You can teleport from Sea Castle to Turtle Mansion to Hydra Village. This is convenient because at Turtle Mansion, you'll be able to trade, change your race, do your gacha spins, and visit a fruit vendor. You can also change your hockey color, play chess, or visit the admin. It's also worth mentioning that at the Sea Castle, there's a variety of trainers that can teach you different fighting styles in case you want to go back to them. As mentioned earlier, you will need 10 conjured cocoa and another chalice for the next part of this process. That's right, you need to defeat the Dough King. Once you have 10 conjured cocoa and a god's chalice, you'll take it to this vendor located on the Chocolate Island. Their name is Sweet Crafter. From there, you will have your Sweet Chalice. Isn't it awesome? With your Sweet Chalice, you now have to survive and defeat 500 NPCs on Cake Island. Highly recommended this is done with friends. However, if you're on a public server, as long as you activate the Dough King before the random bots do, you'll be okay. However, I don't recommend you do this on a public server only because you do need to hit the Dough King for about 100,000 damage. Once again, I did this with friends who helped me defeat all the NPCs, and I got to stay alive and hide. Once you have defeated enough, you'll give the Sweet Chalice to the Drip Mama, and they will spawn the Dough King. Dough King is a lot more difficult than the Dough Prince. However, it's mostly the same moves. Just like Indra, it's recommended that you fight the Dough King with friends, or at least ally up with strangers if you're playing on a public server. Once you defeat the Dough King, there's 3 very important items that can drop. 2 of them are almost guaranteed. That's the Pale Scarf and the Mirror Fractal. If you're lucky, you'll get the Spiky Trident as well. What you're looking for to awaken your race is the Mirror Fractal. If you've heard people saying they're looking for Mirage Island, this is a key piece to it, because this is how you're going to find Mirage Island and activate the moon so that you can find the gear. If you find Mirage Island without a Mirror Fractal and without activating the moon, the gear will not spawn and you will not be able to awaken your race. This is what the Mirror Fractal looks like. Also, another great perk about defeating the Dough King is that you also get the red key. Now, if you're wondering what you do with this red key, this is how you activate dough raids. Dough raids are great because they help people awaken their dough and master all their skills. Awaken dough, as of right now, is one of the most fierce fruits in Blox Fruits. On the same island where you were farming the NPCs to reach the Dough King, you want to stay alive with your red key and work your way over to the very last house if you follow the road. Inside that house, you'll find a locked door that will take the red key. The red key unlocks the scientist who gives you access to the dough raid. When you free the scientist, they'll ask if you want to purchase a dough raid at that time, but you don't have to buy the dough raid. Simply unlocking the door gives you the ability to do dough raids from the Sea Castle. Here's the cake scientist who says, "You freed me from the Dough King's tyranny. Would you like to purchase the dough microchip?" And that's the signal you're looking for right there. So from here, you can purchase the dough raid from the Sea Castle. You can purchase it for 1,000 fragments, or if you trade in a legendary fruit. Quick reminder, a legendary fruit is any fruit worth more than 1 million bellies, or berries, depending who you ask. From here, I'm going to show clips from my live stream where we found Mirage Island, the gear, and completed our first trial for Shark. What was interesting was I was AFK and then I received a phone call, so I was muted for this part.
Drive towards the moon.
But we found the Mirage Island, and you can see in chat, they say no way. Everyone's in disbelief, and once again, I'm muted because I'm on the phone. Once you find Mirage Island, you want to work your way up to the tallest mountain on the island. It can be hard to tell at night because you cannot see anything. I was fortunate to find Mirage Island as the sun was setting. It felt like everything really just lined up at the exact moment. What I'm doing now is waiting for the sun to set. We'll just fast forward a little bit, and now the moon is rising. Once you have your mirror fragment from the Doe King, you're going to tap your race skill while you're facing the moon. I was using a mouse and keyboard, so I was able to shift lock while I pressed the T key. Once you see the moon sparkle like that, aka shimmering the moon, it's time to find the blue gear. Quick reminder that once you spawn Mirage Island, you have 15 minutes before it despawns. Just like before, I was playing with friends, and they were able to find the gear once I had spawned it.
Oh yeah, they did find it. Let's go.
Once you have the gear, you're ready for trials. As of the current update, update 19, you can only do trials when there's a full moon. The good news is, you can find Mirage Island every night now. Before update 19, you used to have to wait for full moon to find Mirage Island.
I may just wait for Mirage one day.
Once you have the gear, you'll enter the Great Tree again, and you'll have a new thing to do. I just watched the guy go inside and I was like, wait, where'd they go? What you'll do is you'll go over and you'll pull the lever. By pulling the secret lever, it will drop that wall and you will be able to enter the trial room. Keep in mind that if you're on a public server or not playing with friends, you will have to PvP at the very end. So make sure you equip your best fruit and have your best gear, because if there's no guaranteed win, it's about to get very sweaty. Once you pull the lever, the wall will fall and you'll be able to find your room to do your trial. Because I was leveling Shark at the time, I went to the water area. Each area has different symbols and flags identifying the race that you're about to awaken. For Shark, you have to fight a sea beast, which is not too challenging as long as you have a fruit that does damage to sea beasts. Keep in mind, fruits like Buddha are very difficult to do any damage, since sea beasts seem to only really take fruit damage. The good news is, because you're a shark, you can stay in the water without taking damage, making this challenge pretty trivial if you can do enough damage to the sea beast. You are on a timer, so you must complete your trial, and everybody doing their trial must complete their trial in time too.
Wait, I'm by myself? Why am I by myself?
I personally have the most difficult time with Mink, the rabbit race. So keep in mind that if someone fails, you all have to do your trial all over again. Once everyone completes their trial, you will meet back in the trial room, and you must PvP until there's only one survivor remaining. Fortunately, because I was playing with friends, they let me win, easy, 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 and I was able to awaken my shark. Once you win the PvP, you'll follow this glowing orb, and it will take you up the endless staircase. Keep in mind, if you try to go up the staircase any other time, it will reset you back to the bottom. It's pretty funny, actually. Once you follow the orb to the top, you'll have a command key to activate the clock. And for your very first awakening, all you will do is place a gear in the center of the clock. For future awakenings, you'll be able to select a gear that provides a different power to whichever race you're using. So Shark, for example, will get a blue gear and a red gear. One gear gives you more armor, and the other gear gives you a shark that surrounds you and gives you a whirlpool power-up that will debuff other players and lower their defense. Keep in mind that if you want to awaken your race further, you will need a lot of fragments, and you will need to do this at least 4 times total. If you want to awaken other races, you must go through all the same steps again for 4 more trials for each race. Furthermore, once you're done with trials, you can still awaken your races even further by pinging fragments. This is done by awakening your race, but that's another issue for another time. For now, I hope this guide helped you and showed you how to awaken your race in Blox Fruits. V4 is a lot of fun, and it helps players defeat teamers, which was the intent to begin with. Players felt like they could not do anything if they were getting teamed up on, and race awakenings help balance things a little bit better in Blox Fruits. If you watched this video to the end, please take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you check out my live streams, and I'll see you next time. Bougie out.
Transformation, duration, and energy game.
I am back, Bougie.
What? So crazy. Guys, look, I got my fishtail. Oh my gosh. Is this real life right now? Guys,
When you do raids.
I'm so happy. Alright, yeah, let's do raids in second C. I got it. Wow. Incredible.